What's up YouTube? This is Bystander X79 guys. Today I'm coming to you with my latest deck profile video for June 2020. And today guys we're looking at my updated Code Talker deck. Now since Code Talkers are a anime protagonist deck, this deck has gotten a ton of support through the core Booster Sex for the Link Rain era. And it culminated with the release of Access Code Talker in Eternity Code. And I can tell you this right now, this is an amazing boss monster that can just help the deck win games. It adds an OTK style ability to the deck, so it allows it to be able to play second. It can go first. You can set up boards. There is a lot of different ways you can build this deck. And to be very honest, pumping out Access Code Talker as fast as possible, that's pretty much what the deck is right now, and it should be your primary focus. However, playing this deck and my experience with this deck has shown me a glaring weakness. This deck doesn't put up that many negates at all. And that can be problematic when playing against your opponent. So to address this, I incorporated the Synchro engine into this deck to be able to put up a turn 1 style negate board to allow you to be able to combat your opponent a little bit easier. With that being said, we're going to dive right into this deck profile and I'll talk about my choices as we go along. So first and foremost, one copy of Backup Secretary. She is level 3 light attribute, and you can special summon her when you control another Cyberse type monster. A lot of times you want to be saving these special summon while you control other Cyberse monsters for the special summons only. You don't really want to be wasting a normal summon on them unless you have to. That being said, more bodies on the board means you can do more things and build into bigger plays, and that's the important thing with any Link Central deck, is to get the bodies on the board. One copy of Balancer Lord. This is one of the few cards in the deck that you have to use your normal summon on. When you normal summon this guy out, you can actually pay 1,000 life points and be able to get an additional normal summon of a level 4 or lower Cyberse monster from your hand any point during your turn after you use this card's effect, which is just awesome. I've come across several situations where maybe having that extra normal summon later in the turn does help be able to extend even further. Furthermore, if this card's banished from the graveyard, you're allowed to special summon a level 4 or lower Cyberse monster from your hand to the field. Typically, you use this in concert with the effect of Cyberse Wicked. When you ever use special summon a monster to his own opponent's deal, you can banish a card from the graveyard, specifically this one, to search out Cyberse Synchron, and then using this card's effect, special summon Cyberse Synchron in one go. The newest kid on the block, Code Generator, came to us through Toon Chaos. Finally, we got this card, and it is just amazing. Just like its counterparts, Code Radiator and Microcoder, you can utilize this card as link material from your hand in order to link summon a Code Talker monster. Now, all these monsters that you can link summon from the hand also have other abilities when they hit the graveyard after they link summon out the Code Talker, and being that Generator is allowed to send a Cyberse monster with 1,200 or less attack from your deck to your graveyard. Basically, it's a foolish burial. You're going to be sending Dot Scaper to special summon it out, or setting up potentially other plays further down the line, depending on what other extenders you have in your hand. So definitely worth having. Code Radiator, just like Code Generator, summon out your Code Talker monsters, except this guy, he's more built for the go seconds plays. Primarily the reason is because when it hits the graveyard, you can target one of your monsters your opponent controls and you bottom out that monster's attack. That's if you do it from the hand. If he's on the field and you do the same effect, he's going to be able to target up to 2 monsters and bottom out those attacks. So it makes going for the OTK plays just a little bit easier then, and that's why we want to run him at 2. He's a water attribute, so he's pretty easy to get into. Okay, 2 copies of Cyberse Converter. Cyberse Converter, where you control just Cyberse monsters in the field, you can special summon this guy out on the field. And again, extra bodies on the board. Now you're probably wondering why Since this is only Cyberse only and backup secretary, it's just having another Cyberse on the field. The primary reason is its level. We want to be utilizing this card in concert with Cyberse Synchron in order to go into a Synchro play. So that's why we're running 2 copies of him instead of the 2 copies of backup secretary. Speaking of Cyberse Synchron, we only run 1 copy of him, and that's all we need. You can target another monster on the field, you can double its level, and from there you could synchro off. Best case scenario is to get a level 3 on the field, double its level, go into your level 7 Cyberse Quantum Dragon play. Pretty damn awesome. Also has a pretty cool graveyard effect. If your opponent would destroy one of your monsters that's in the extra monster zone, you can actually banish this card and protect that monster from being destroyed. It has come in handy a few times and definitely worth having. Dotscaper's the next monster. One's all you really need for this particular deck. Send this card to the graveyard. It automatically special summons itself back to the field. If this card is banished, it special summons itself back to the field. You only get each of those effects once per turn. So if it's banished, that's you special summon it, but it hits the graveyard, you can't special summon it back. You're starting to get that there, and you can only use each effect once per duel. But still, it is worth it because it helps build your boards. And we have another one of our normal summons, Lady Debug. Pretty awesome starter for any Cyberse deck. Normal summon or special summon this card, and you're searching your deck for a level 4 or lower Cyberse monster to add to your hand, which is just awesome. It just allows you to open up your play strings and access pretty much your entire deck. 3 copies of Microcoder, just like Code Radiator and Code Generator. Link summon Code Talkers from the hand, and when this card hits the graveyard for the link summon of a Code Talker monster, you're searching your deck for a Signet spell or trap. And that's very important because this card gives you access to your spell and trap support. It just opens up a whole lot more things you can do, and it's just so worth it. That's why we run them at 3. 2 copies of Parallax Seed. Link summon a monster. If this guy's in your hand, you special summon it to the zone the monk monster points to, and then you can actually special summon another copy of itself from the main deck right to the field. Again, more bodies on the board means more plays you could do, and it's just an awesome card. It is Wind Attribute, so there is a way to actually search this card out of your deck, even though you might be restricted to particular levels through Lady Debug or Signet Mining. 1 copy of Sin Tabulator. Sim, we'll only run 1 copy. It is a Dark Attribute. It is level 5, so it's not that easily searchable, but if you control a Link monster that's linked to another monster, you can actually special summon this card from your hand by targeting a level 4 or lower Cyberse monster in your graveyard. You add that monster you targeted in your graveyard back to your hand, and he hits the field. So that's actually a pretty cool extender. Can be situational at times, that's why we only run them at once. For my engine, I am running the Spot engine, so we're going to be seeing 2 copies of 001 and 3 copies of 003. 003 is the other card you want your normal summon on, basically because when he hits the field, you're summoning out your Despot 01, and from there you're just building into the Synchro engine, Hackwathrax, Aurodon, and then you can actually create even more Synchro plays after you summon the tokens, because whenever you summon machine-type monsters to the field, whether it be you or your opponent, this card comes out of your graveyard onto the field in defense mode, which is just awesome. And last but not least, to complete the Synchro engine, we have 1 copy of Mecha Phantom Beast Online. Level 2 tuner, and it generates a token, so again, more bodies on the board, always a good thing. Going into the spells, 3 copies of Signet Codec. Codec is one of the important spells that you want to be having in your Code Talker deck, primarily because whenever you summon a Code Talker, you're allowed to search your deck for another Cyberse monster that is the same attribute as itself, which is actually very awesome. You can't utilize the same search for the same attribute more than once in a turn, but still, it's worth having in the deck, and this adds a whole nother level of consistency and allows you to build your board or even set up future plays on further turns. So it's definitely worth running at 3 because you want to be seeing it. 3 copies of Signet Mining. Pitch card. Search your deck for a level 4 lower Cyberse monster. Pretty straightforward. The pictured card could be easily anything that you don't need in your hand at the time. That's Escaper, Balancer Lord. Just 2 cards that I typically wind up sending to the graveyard. 3 copies of Silent Optimization. Alright, Silent Optimization does double duty. For one thing, it gives all Code Talker monsters the effect where your opponent cannot activate cards and effects until they're in the battle phase until the end of the damage step. So it kind of makes all the Code Talker monsters like Ancient Gear Golem. It also allows you to get an additional normal summon, and that right there is very awesome. Unlike Balancer Lord, which you can do anytime during a turn after you activate its effect, this one is almost immediate, so you have to have a play ready to go. Some more generic cards to help round up the deck. Monster Reborn, great extender. 1-for-1 picture card you don't need, special summon on a level 1 monster. Cyber Sync Run, Microcoder, even Dot Scaper, all very good targets for this card. One-time passcode, because it is an extender in that you can activate during the course of your turn. It gives you a level 4 Cyberse token, which makes it a little bit easier to get into something like Update Chamber. Ragged Key, because you need to blow your opponent's board sometimes just to get through it. Upstart Goblin, free draw. This deck doesn't really care about giving your opponent extra life points. And last but not least, World Legacy Secession. Again, it's another extender that allows you to bring back a monster from your graveyard to a zone and link monster points to. So that's it for the main deck. Going for the extra deck, we got the big boss monster, Axis Code Talker. Your opponent can't respond to the activation of his effects, which is just awesome. It gains attack points equals to the link rating of one of the materials that made this card. So typically you're making this with a link 3, like Transcode Talker. Targeted link 3, it gains 3,000 attack for that card, which is just huge, making it 5,300 attack, and that can be very problematic. You start mixing in things like Update Jammer or even IAP, you get the idea. You can actually make this card gain additional attacks and can't be destroyed by card effects. So making a boss monster even more bossy if you want to go that way. Transcode Talker, very awesome Earth Attribute Code Talker monster. On summon, you're able to activate his effect and get a link 2 or lower link monster back onto the field to a zone that points to. And from there you can actually continue building your board, so it's definitely an amazing card to have. X-Code Talker, on summon you can target any monster zone on, main monster zone on the field, and your opponent can't summon monsters to it. Any monsters it points to powers those monsters up by 500 attack. So very awesome card to have. Oh, and FYI, this is the Wind Attribute that you can utilize with Silent Coda to search out your Power Exceed. Shooting Code Talker, I can tell you right now, it's actually a pretty awesome card. Can allow you to attack all your opponent's monsters. Typically what you're going to want to be doing is you're going to want to be having this pointing to probably a Transcode Talker or a X-Code Talker to power boost it even further. And from there, you can attack all your opponent's monsters, get you additional draws during the end of the battle phase. So it is a very good card to have in your extra deck. Then you have Encode Talker. Encode Talker can actually protect your other monsters that it points to from being destroyed by battle. Damage is zeroed, and then the attack of the monster that the other monster it pointed to battled is then added to either itself or another card it points to power boost even further. So that's actually a pretty good battle trick, so definitely worth playing around with. For link 2, we have one copy of Code Talker. The Dark Attribute can search out your Dark Attribute monsters pretty easily. While it points to another monster, it gains an extra 500 attack, as well as it can't be destroyed by your opponent's battle or card effects. So very awesome. Of course, I mentioned this before. Cyberse Wicked, this is the card that allows you to search your Cyber Synchron from your deck to your hand. So very awesome. IP Masquerena. Any Link monsters that are made with this card are indestructible by your opponent's card effects, so definitely worth having. Update Jammer. Primary reason why we have this card in the deck is to basically make any monster or any Link monster made with it be able to attack more than once during the turn. So typically we want to access Kotarka that's 5300 attack, attacking more than once during a duel. For the engine, Hacker Fullbacks. On summon, get your another tuner out from your deck. From there, you could build into your Auradon. Auradon gives you your 3 Mecha Phantom Beast tokens, as well as brings back the other two Despot 001s. And from there, you're synchroing off to build into a Borreload Savage Dragon. Typically, I equip the Auradon to Savage Dragon to give it 3 negates, which is actually awesome. And depending on what other tokens and monsters I have left, I typically will either complement it with Herald, just to give it an additional Omni-Negate, as well as being able to banish your opponent's cards, or I can build into a Cyberse Quantum Dragon, and I've actually done this in my EDO replay video for this deck, where basically this card's on the field with Borreload Savage, and my opponent attacked into it. They didn't realize that its effect can bounce the card back off the field, so they wasted a fusion monster on it. So it is actually very awesome to have. And the last synchro monster is Cyberse Interrogator. Basically, Converter plus Synchron is going to create this card. From there, you're going to be able to bring back Synchron to the field. Synchron will double the level, and you can go into Quantum Dragon from there. Alright guys, that is it for my Cyberse deck profile for the June 2020 format. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this on this channel, make sure to subscribe, enable notifications so you don't miss any uploads. Check out the description box below. Find the links to my affiliates, TCGplayer.com as well as SideDeckVersus.com. Great resources for any Yu-Gi-Oh player. Follow me on social media, Twitter and Reddit. And if you guys want to help grow my community even to greater heights, the link to my Discord server is in the description box below. Join the conversation. We'll love to have you. As always, guys, until next time, peace.